to the channel. I'm back to break down this 4-game MLB Division Series Playoffs MLB DFS slate. Before we get into it, I have released multiple MLB packages over there on Patreon where you can get access to all the sheets that you see behind me during my videos if you're interested in that, as well as some other content. So go ahead and check that out if interested. You can follow me over on Twitter at KJK_DFS. And lastly, I have released a merch store using the promo code KJK DFS. You can go ahead and get KJK DFS merch for 10% off. So go ahead and check that out if interested. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So as always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K-rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy in the slate today in K-rate is that Chris Paddock taking on these Los Angeles Dodgers. He's got a 26% K-rate overall, a 29.7% K-rate against right-handed hitting, and then a 22.5% K-rate against lefties. And you can see he does struggle a little bit in the hard contact category. So while he does have the strikeout stuff, he does give up his fair share of hard contact, and he is taking on a Los Angeles Dodgers team that absolutely rakes. The lines aren't out yet for this game, unfortunately, but it'll be interesting to see what Vegas is predicting here in this game, because you got a matchup of two really good teams, but the Padres are definitely throwing out one of their better arms to take on these Dodgers to try to stay alive. So I'll have to keep an eye on the Vegas lines there, but he's top on the K-rate category. And then looking at my team hitting data sheet, you can see that the Los Angeles Dodgers really don't strike out a lot. So while he is the top K-rate guy in the slate, I mean, looking at the Dodgers on my sheet, you can see they're green across the board. They absolutely rake. I think that's common knowledge at this point, but a 20.8% K-rate is very good. And then the WOBA, the hard hit rate, the slugging, the BABIP, the fly ball, the hard contact, all that stuff is just absolutely elite. And especially against right-handed pitching, which Chris Paddock is a right-handed pitcher. So not the best matchup. Definitely the best K-rate on the slate, but it's going to be hard playing him in that matchup. Second on the list is that and Christian Javier taking on these Oakland Athletics. He's got a 25.2% K-rate. The swinging strike rate's really bad. The ground ball, the fly ball stuff's really bad. He's got a 30.3% K-rate against righties and then a 21.6% K-rate against lefties. So we do prefer him in right-handed heavy matchups because the WOBA, the hard hit rate, the slugging is very good, and he's got a 30.3% K-rate. And when looking at his matchup today in the Oakland Athletics, they're definitely going to provide some of these things for us, because they definitely are right-handed heavy. They have a bunch of righties in there, which, I think I've made pretty clear is very important when you're pitching Christian Javier in your fantasy lineups, because he does really excel against right-handed hitting, and he's not so good against lefties. So, and then when specifically looking at the Oakland Athletics numbers as far as K-rate and being able to target them, you can see they have a pretty decent K-rate overall, 24% K-rate. The WOBA, the ISO, the slugging, the BABIP, and all that stuff is pretty mediocre. And then against right-handed pitching specifically, they have a 23.5% K-rate, and same type of deal, pretty mediocre. So I do think that Christian Javier is a viable option. A little bit risky with his hard contact, but he definitely is viable. Tony Gonsolin taking on the San Diego Padres next on the list with a 24.5% K-rate, a 13% swinging strike rate, tops the slate in that category. He's got a 26.2% K-rate against righties and then a 22.9% K-rate against lefties. And his hard contact and his WOBA and his slugging is pretty consistent across the board, honestly, against both. So we know what we're getting with him. And, he is taking on a San Diego Padres team, which isn't the most ideal matchup. But our pitching options are kind of limited. After going to Gonsolin and we're breaking down the rest of these guys, this is when things are going to be interesting, because we have Jordan Montgomery taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. He has a 22.9% K rate and 11.9 swing strike rate. The ground ball, the fly ball, the hard hit rate's all pretty good. Against righties, it's not so good though. He has a 477 slugging, giving up a 346 WOBA, 23% K rate, still respectable. And then against lefties, he's very, very good. So when targeting Montgomery, we're going to hope that these Rays roll out a left-handed heavy lineup, because he's going to need that to excel. And it's not like the Rays aren't aware of his splits. I'm sure you're going to see every single righty that they can possibly get in the lineup. So take with that what you will. I mean, there are some righties with some high K rates that they're going to be inserting in there. Hunter Renfroe has a ton of pop, but he does strike out. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting decision there to go to Jordan Montgomery. And I would say that if we see that the Rays decide to stick with some of their lefties, I'll like him a lot more. I have a hard time believing they're going to, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Frankie Montas taking on the Houston Astros has a 22.5% K rate. Ground ball fly ball stuff's pretty respectable, 22.7% K rate against righties, and then a 22.3% K rate against lefties. And the thing is, when you're looking at his matchup against the Astros, they just don't strike out. I mean, the Houston Astros are the best in the league in strikeout rate. They have a 19.9% K rate. And then when specifically looking at how they fare against right-handed pitching, they have a 20.5% K rate. So they just do not strike out. Easiest way to say it. They're a very difficult team to pick on. And I'm not too sure that I would want to be too heavy on Frankie Montas. However, as we're going through the slate, it's the playoffs, it's the best of the best, and it's like I'm saying this about a lot of guys. So we're going to have to pick and prioritize who we're playing based on, upside capabilities and based on the guys we've gone over so far. You have Chris Paddock, who has the top K rate on the slate, but he has to take on Los Angeles Dodgers, which we don't love. We have Christian Javier, who has some hard contact issues, but he does strike out righties a lot, so I like him against the A's for that reason. However, it's like you look at his swing strike rate, his ground ball, his fly ball, that's very bad, so you still have risk with him. Tony Gonsolin, who we know what we're getting from him, but the Padres aren't the best matchup either. I mean, he's probably up there on my list for priority. Even with that being said, I would say, and then Jordan Montgomery is a guy that could definitely get the job done for you, but the Yankees might pull him early if they needed to use their bullpen to stay alive. And if the Rays roll out a right-handed heavy lineup, I'm not sure that I like him all too much. Frankie Montas is very respectable, but the Astros don't strike out. And then that's when we get into Sixto Sanchez, who's taking on the Atlanta Braves. He has a 20.9% K rate. The swing strike rate, the ground ball, the fly ball stuff's very good. He has a good walk rate, ground ball against righties. The hard hit rate's pretty good, but the strikeout rate dips down. Against lefties, he's actually been really, really good, which isn't ideal because the Atlanta Braves are actually a very right-handed heavy lineup. So once again, we have a not ideal matchup, but we do have strikeout upside in Sixto Sanchez. So pitching's kind of a blur. You're gonna have to throw in, the guys that are respectable pitchers that might not have the best matchup but can get the job done for you at their salary with the bats that you like. And with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. Enough talking about the pitching. Let's figure out some bats that we like to play. And as always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, Scale Interactive, ERA, to figure out the worst pitchers on the slate. And the worst pitcher on today's slate by far, when looking at Kyle Wright's numbers, he has a 63 innings pitch sample size, a 5.83 Sierra, a 6.22 ERA. The K rate, the swinging strike rate, the walk rate, the hard hit rate's all bad. He gets with a 378 slugging to right-handed hitting, but the walk rate and the K rate is terrible once again. And then against lefties, it is really, really, really bad. A 576 slugging, a 412 WOBA, a 40% hard hit rate. That is just not going to get the job done. That's scary bad. And that is going to make me love these Miami Marlins left-handed bats today. Corey Dickerson, Matt Joyce, Magneuris Sierra. And unfortunately, the only bad part is the Marlins don't really have a lot of lefties. So, Corey Dickerson at the top of the lineup, I absolutely love. So I just want to point that out. And then, the righties, he's still bad, but he's not as terrible at all. So while the walk rate is bad and he could get himself in some hard situations here, that adds to the appeal of the stack. But I would like it a lot more if these Marlins had some more left-handed hitting. So next on the list to target is that in Christian Javier, which I had said I have interest in pitching him. But if you look at his numbers across the board, he does have a terrible ground ball and fly ball rate. Although his WOBA, his hard hit rate, and his slugging is very good against righties. But it's the lefties that get him. 487 slugging, not good. And the ground ball and the fly ball rate, once again, is terrible. So these Oakland Athletics have a lefty and a guy that I'm sure a lot of you playing MLB DFS know. And then his name is Matt Olson. He absolutely crushes baseballs. And I'm going to have a ton of interest in Matt Olson today at 4.7K on DraftKings. He's a priority for me. And then Jake Lamb at the bottom of the order. Once again, a lineup where the lefties would excel, and there's not a lot of lefties, so that kind of stinks. But I can tell you one thing: I have a ton of interest in Matt Olson, and this is where Every single time I'm breaking down one of these playoff slates, it seems to be there's like a fine line and where we're targeting, the bottom pitchers in a hard contact and ground ball, and then usually from there on, everyone's pretty good, and then we have to start breaking down some splits. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So first, we're going to figure out some right-handed bats that we want to target today, and the very first guy that stands out from that aspect is definitely targeting Jordan Montgomery of the New York Yankees with some Tampa Bay Rays righties bats because he's really bad against righties. He has a 477 slugging, a 346 WOBA, a 32.6% hard hit rate. That's just not good. And the Rays have one of the hottest hitters in the playoffs right now in Randy Arozarena, who's been absolutely going off. So I definitely have a ton of interest in him today. And you can really throw in any righty in the lineup and feel pretty good about it if you're stacking up this team. Mike Pursuit, Yandy Diaz, Manuel Margot, Hunter Renfroe, Willie Adames, Mike Zunino. The only thing I would warn you of is the Yankees' backs are kind of against the wall here. So if Montgomery's struggling early on, he's probably going to have a quick pull. So you can go ahead and stack up all these righties, and then it might be a situation where they actually get pinch hit for when the Yankees go to the bullpen and the Rays start throwing in all their left-handed bats. So that's the risk you're going to be dealing with there. But as far as breaking down Montgomery's numbers against righties, he's definitely you're definitely able to target him. Just know that there's some pinch hit risks. Maybe target the guys that you know won't get pinch hit, like a Randy Arozarena. He's going to stay in the game. Manuel Margot, who's been playing in the outfield, that type of deal. Just keep that in mind. And then two more guys. The first is that in Ryan Thompson, who's actually going to be the opener here. He's only going to go out there and throw an inning or two against these Yankees. But with that being said, he does have a 473 slugging given up to righties and then a 339 WOBA. So I do think that the Yankees could jump on him early, the right-handed power bats. And they're going to stay in the game all game anyways, and they got to produce. So, DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Luke Voigt, Giancarlo Stanton, Gio Urshela, Gleyber Torres. All these righties I think you could target early on, and then when they switch over to Ryan Yarborough, it's not like his numbers are the greatest in the world either, and he's a left-handed pitcher, so that could benefit guys that crush lefties, such as a Luke Voigt or a Giancarlo Stanton. So I definitely like those Yankees righties today. And then Chris Paddock taking on Los Angeles Dodgers does have that hard contact issue, so you could definitely target the Dodgers righties. Moving over to lefties, we had already gone over Kyle Wright's splits, Christian Javier splits, and the one guy we haven't gone over is that in Frankie Montas taking on the Houston Astros. When you're looking at his splits, there's a clear weakness against lefties. He has a 37.6 ground ball, 36.6 fly ball, 346 WOBA against lefties, 42.3% hard hit rate, and a 478 slugging. That's not good, and I definitely think that we can target some Houston Astros lefties today and feel pretty good about it. So my favorite options would be that and Michael Brantley. Kyle Tucker would probably be my favorite option because he has a little more pop. But, Brantley's clearly a great option. And then Josh Reddick at the bottom of the order is a great salary relief option taking on the righty and Frankie Montas, who struggles against left-handed hitting. So that is pretty much all for my breakdown today. Before I let you guys go, I do have to give you my home run call of the day. As always, I like to go back to my sheet, give you some reasoning. We've gone over a lot of things throughout the video, hopefully some great information to help you with your lineups. But with that being said, we do have to pick a guy to hit a home run. And I think I'm going to have to play the hot hand here because when you're looking at Jordan Montgomery's numbers and his struggles against righties, and then you factor in how hot Randy Arozarena has been, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and pick him to hit a home run today. So he will be my home run call of the day. Tampa Bay Rays, Randy Arozarena, get him in your lineups. He's been killing it. And he gets to take on a guy with a 477 slug given up to right-handed hitting, a 346 WOBA, a 32.6% hard hit rate. Not good. And I think he can keep it rolling today and hit a home run for you guys. So he is my home run call of the day. Get him in your lineups. I like him. And that is all from me today. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos that I make. I appreciate you guys tuning in today, and I wish you all the best of luck tonight. Have a good one.